At least it says it's recording.
It
Tyler,
should record your desktop.
it should record what?
It should record and download to your desktop after for you to upload wherever.
That's kind of what I thought, but I didn't log in, so that's super weird. But that's okay. We'll keep rolling. Tyler, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
I really miss you.
I know, I'm ready to get back to the vlogs.
Oh, I know. I'm like, it just doesn't even feel right. Everything feels weird. So anyway, Tyler, I texted him last night. I'm like, I have a favor, because I was putting stuff together for this and I was going through all my notes. And then honestly, I'm like, really, all of this is stuff that Tyler knows way, way, way better than me. So thanks for being able to take a little bit of time and be on with everybody.
For sure.
So I thought, and we can kind of just ask some Q&A too. I had a couple of things I wanted us to for sure hit when it comes to marketing and branding videos in general. And then I want us to definitely talk about YouTube, because we're hearing so much about YouTube being the new Zillow as far as people searching for homes. And also, if you guys go to the top right, if you hit speaker view, whenever Tyler's talking, it'll make him bigger. I know people asked me questions about that this morning. So you can either have gallery view or speaker view, just FYI. Videos as far as like listings and all that stuff. So Tyler, first, you do a ton of video work for a lot of different podcasts and realtors and organizations and all kinds of stuff. How have you seen, are you seeing people ramping up the videos, or are people backing away? Like, what are you seeing with everybody?
I'm seeing a lot more recently. I'm seeing a lot more people utilizing their phones, which is good. Everything from like virtual walkthroughs with their gimbals and their phones to a lot more people utilizing these Zoom meetings so that people can actually take content from here and then apply it towards their sphere, or put it on YouTube, or put it on Facebook. We're seeing a lot of that recently.
Yep.
But yeah, as far as like fun vlogs and stuff go.
Yeah. Holding off on that. None of us
know.
go to jail, right? Okay.
But yeah, but it is good though, because a lot of like the social media apps I've noticed, all the way down to TikTok. I just started playing with TikTok this week, and I've realized that they've really encouraged the user on their phone to make it very user friendly for editing on your phone. And so I'm kind of seeing like a uptick in that kind of content. So a lot of like, I'm not saying like TikTok's going to be like, it's going to overpower everything, but I'm seeing a lot of people, what TikTok started allowing to happen is sharing content from there onto other social media platforms. And
Right.
So they've made the editing on your phone easier, where that hasn't really been done before. And so I kind of see that kind of like becoming a new thing for people to be able to edit and just splice clips together on their phones. And so you're starting to see a little bit more user-friendly stuff like that.
Yep.
Recently.
Okay. Sorry, hold on guys. I'm just trying to figure out who is actually the host of this so that I can go in and mute people. I don't know. Try to keep yourselves muted if you can, guys, unless you're going to ask a question, just so we don't get a lot of feedback from noises and stuff. I can't figure that out. Sorry, I guess I might have to like log in and log back out. Okay, Tyler, so let's start with phones. So what are you finding, what are some of the best ways that people can do videos from their phones? What do they need a stabilizer? Do they not need a stabilizer? What editing apps? Talk to us about that. And if you guys have questions, type them in the chat, and that will help a ton. And then we can field those two kind of as he goes, because I want this to be open. I have a few questions, but I don't have a ton. So I want you guys to be able to ask too.
So on the phone, so I'd recommend anybody, so with the newer phones that everybody has now, I'd recommend, I've got the latest iPhone. And so with that, it's got like a built-in stabilizer into it. And you're starting to see that with a lot more of the newer phones. And so you can almost walk around and it's still pretty smooth. And so I'm seeing a lot of that, where I've been pretty impressed by like the built-in stabilization that these phones have now. But otherwise, what I really recommend a lot of people, like, bare minimum, if you can, if you're like giving a client or you're doing a video, holding the phone like horizontally, I feel like is just like rule number one. just because then you can do more with the video in post-production, and you can it can be formatted and then cropped in and crop around it, and then you can put it on different platforms. And then I always film everything on my phone if I'm recording it. I always film it in 4K, because when you're able to, 4K just allows you to move the image around. Like if you kind of like hold your phone out here, I can then kind of like move in post-production. Like when I'm editing, I can crop in, out, around to the sides and all of that. And that is what I feel like a lot of YouTubers are doing to kind of make things more engaging, because at least for me, I get really bored when I just see a static shot of somebody just talking and going on and on. And so just making small little cuts, and you can do that within iMovie on your phone, or there's Adobe Rush for, you can use, that's like a really easy one for Android or iPhone. iMovie is great for just simple cuts that you can do on your phone as well. And then if you're filming in 4K, that's what really allows you to like get the most out of your phone. Now, if you're filming something for like more than 15 minutes, I'd recommend just bumping it back down to like 1080. Otherwise, the file sizes are really cumbersome to work with, especially on your phone. But that's what I'd recommend, like horizontal. So holding your phone to the side, 4K, and 30 frames a second is another thing that you can do.
Hey, Tyler, hold on. Let's pause for 1 sec. Can you tell them how to do the 4K on their phone if they have an iPhone?
Yep.
And what is 4K?
Yeah,
yep,
so,
great question.
Yeah, good question. So 4K, so there's two different video formats. There's 1080, or there's more obviously, but like kind of like what we're seeing a lot of online, like what Facebook will put out, is like you're seeing like a 1920 by 1080 resolution size.
Hey, Tyler, sorry to interrupt. Okay, people are saying they're having trouble hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, that's way better.
I'll just talk a little bit closer.
Thank you. Is that better,
Is that
Jennifer,
better?
Tina?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Cool.
You're good. Okay, sorry.
Awesome. 4K. So 4K is like the biggest resolution that you can film in on your camera, so that it looks the sharpest. It's a really big format. Which means it's also a really big file size, but it allows you to do a lot more. It looks better when you put it on the internet. And so versus like just filming in like standard definition is probably the best way to put it. So 1920 by 1080 is standard definition. 4K is high definition or ultra high definition. You'll see some like TVs advertise it that way.
So how do we find out where our definition is, and how do we change it on our phones? Sorry,
So
I'm like,
That's what we're here for. That's what we're, no, if you have the question, other people do too.
So on my phone, up on the top.
Oh, I see
right
it. I
here,
just
there's
changed it to 4K.
Yep, and you just click it. And a lot of times, I think that's the way it is for Droids too. You should just be able to kind of click on what you're seeing, or like where it says like HD 30 or 4K 30. And then that's what I'd recommend, those 4K 30 frames a second, just because then the file sizes, you just have more to work with. And that's how you adjust it on iPhone, just by simply clicking it.
Got it. That's awesome. I never knew what that was and didn't know what it meant. So that's awesome.
It makes a huge difference. He taught me that too before, like last year, and it makes a massive difference on your videos from your phone. You will be able to tell a huge difference.
Okay. And you said it already has a stabilizer in it if you have one of the newer iPhones?
If you have one of the newer iPhones, it does, yes. And so with that, I don't know about Droids right now, but so with iPhone, if you're doing a virtual walkthrough, like you got one of these, this is just like a selfie stick that I picked up. So what you can do with this, I always recommend going to the widest setting. So it's like 0.5. So you always want a wide lens. So
that's what that means. Okay.
Yeah. So what I'd recommend, so what I originally started doing before I ever did videos or anything else, I was taking listing photography and listing videos. And so one thing that's really important when showing a house is a wide lens. Then what you want to be able to do is so you can show off like the whole room by having like a really wide focal length. So then you can just see more. And then on top of that, if you're filming in 4K, you can zoom in and you just have more, you can show off more, but then you can zoom in on different aspects of what's happening, or anything that you want to bring attention to in particular. That's what I'd recommend, doing any walkthroughs that you can in like the widest lens that you have available. And I think most phone manufacturers moving forward are starting to really incorporate wide lenses, but I can't speak to that for sure because I don't have a Droid anymore. But that's what I'd recommend if you're doing like walkthroughs, is wide lens. And then if you have one of these, great. But if not, here's how you will want to walk around your house or a house with your phone. So if you guys can't hear me, just let me know. But so what I always recommend is keeping the phone, instead of having it like out here and you're walking around, and I'll even take it out of this. And so if you're out here and you're walking around and the phone's like out further, what's going to happen is your arm bumps. Like as you kind of walk, that's going to happen. And so what I've had a really good success with is just kind of like pushing forward. Like you're just kind of like, you want to lean and then you can kind of turn. Or if you're walking around, you just want to keep it close to your body. So you're almost just kind of like doing one of these, and it's a lot smoother versus then you're not having like all of your arm shakes, or if you're nervous, if you get nervous, if you're like on live or something, that's when like things really get shaky. And so that's when I feel like you always can like overcompensate for that by keeping everything like you're hugging your phone.
That's a good tip, honestly.
That's what I feel like you have like, it's a little bit easier. And that's what I'll do for like quick. So like I've got a big stabilizer that I'll use for my camera, but I always make like gliding motions with it. So if you want, what you can do is not drop your phone. And then, so if you can, on your phone, you can just kind of like splice, so you can record something and then you move forward and you just kind of show off a room like that. And then you can stop recording and then you can start recording in another angle that you want to. And then in post-production, like on your phone, you can start adding all those clips together, and then you can build like a little bit better of a virtual walkthrough than like one like this, where it's like super shaky and you're right in center frame. So I recommend wide lens, or widest lens possible on your phone, tucked in, and leave your face out of it. And then if you really want to put your face in it, do that at the very end. That's what I'd recommend. Or in the very beginning if you want to. So what's really important, and one thing that I've learned with making a lot of the videos for the region and Dana, is the first 3 to 5 seconds is like detrimental in keeping retention, in the audience retention. And so I recommend finding like the most unique or coolest part of the house and starting there, and then work your way backwards throughout the house, instead of I'm in front of another house that looks like all these other houses, we'll take a tour, and then you're having to walk and people lose interest, and then if they're watching at the end, they're just going to fast forward through all that other stuff. That's at least how I'm watching those tours.
So Tyler, you're saying that if you don't have one of those stabilizer stick things, right? That's how you should do it, even on the live videos, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. I think that, I just feel like that's a lot easier. You're going to have a little bit more success with like not as shaky footage. And then, so you're really just maximizing and getting the most out of your phone by just walking smoothly with it and just kind of showing people what you're looking at, like kind of keeping around your chest. So then it's like keeping it tight to your body. That's probably the easiest way I found to like kind of keep your cell phone stable.
Tyler, will you touch on really quickly if they do want to have a stabilizer? Because we've talked about this. Oh, thank you. I'm the host now. Thank you to whoever did that, Troy or Nancy. Will you touch on if they want to have a stabilizer or one of those things, the selfie thing, like they don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on those. What are some of like the best inefficient, or I mean, I'm sorry, inexpensive ones?
Yeah, so I picked up, so to touch on stabilizers. So if you want a stabilizer, I recommend, I've had experience with any stabilizer built by DJI. They really kind of like, they do a really good job with all stabilization devices. The newest one is, they've had 3 of them come out. The newest one's probably the most easy to use. And the hardest part about any stabilizer for your phone that's like got a little motor in it is balancing it the first time. Once you get it balanced the first time, it's a lot easier to use, but you just have to like really persevere through that first stable, like getting it ready on the phone, because it's a pain. You will get frustrated, but the more DJI has produced these gimbals, they become easier to use. But I have like this was like $20, and this is like, it's a selfie stick, but it also can serve as a stand as well. So it's got like the ability to rest on a table like this, and then you're able to, that's when you can like prop it up and then do your market update. That's what I like about this one. And it also can go up pretty tall. So then it can be like one of these like awesome selfie sticks. If you're using it though, if you're using any of these, you don't need to spend a whole lot of money on it, simply because it's like, they've got stuff that has like Bluetooth, so you can take pictures of yourself and of anything else. I don't think you need it, but like I said, it's $20 and just has it built in. But the main thing you really need is just something that's got a universal mount, so that you can use it even if you switch your phone. And then once it's in, it has the ability to like kind of tilt and do stuff like that. And so that's where you'll want to be able to, then you can kind of play with it as far as like how you want to show a certain room or angle. Things like I've seen some people do with these, like if they're wanting to show like it's like one of those staircases that looks over a bunch of stuff. A lot of people like kind of take advantage of having a selfie stick, and they can just like push it over, and like you can kind of get different unique views with a stick like this. So you don't need one that fully extends completely out. It's nice. It just gives you more range of motion. But I think ultimately, make sure it's got a universal mount, and it's got an ability to kind of like tilt it as needed. And it's like an extra bonus if it's got little legs attached to it. So then you can just set it down and talk to it if you want.
I don't have that. I'll be ordering one of those little guys today.
Yeah, that's a lot easier to use. But DJI though does have some like really cool features built in. If you wanted to get a little bit more fancy with stuff like that, you can do it. They make it really user friendly, so you can even kind of like make some of the simple edits within their app. And so you can go live within their app as well. And there's basically with that, they've got ability to like do time lapses that move. So you can like set it to look at from one point to the other. If you watch any of the videos that we've done recently with like the region, I like to start off with time lapses because they capture a lot of attention right away. And so that's one thing that I recommend if you're really trying to capture attention, really going back to like that first 3 to 5 seconds. I really think it's like the most important thing to start off with a bang right away. And so whatever that is, whether it's a really cool shower backsplash or you're just trying to show the outside of a house, really think about like, what can I do to really capture attention right away? And like, so going back to the gimbal, then you can do like little time lapses, you can do moving time lapses all within the app. And so it's when you get a gimbal, there's an app that's built in that you download onto your phone for both Apple and Android. And it's got a bunch of like built-in features that makes it pretty easy to do a lot of it yourself. And I've used it before. I like it. Sometimes it can If you're in a hurry and you have to like hurry up and get the phone ready, that's when it gets like a little bit nerve wracking. But if you have an extra minute and you can set up the phone, you can set up the gimbal and get it all stabilized, then it's really easy to use the rest of the time. Because then then you can hold it out as far as you want and move it around as much as you want. And it's going to keep it a lot more stable, especially if you are somebody that like when you go live and you just kind of like have a lot of energy. Sometimes it might not even be nervous energy. It could just simply be nerves of just like, oh, wow, everybody's watching this right now. Okay. That will help you tremendously. I've seen people that get super hype on live and it's like my eyes are jittering and it drives me nuts. But so that's where I'd recommend a gimbal if you have issues keeping it cool.
That would be me. I think he's talking about me, guys. Okay, so Tyler, quick question. What do you think is the difference? Talk about when they're doing videos, them personally being in them, time frame versus like how much should be the house or how much should be a timeline. Like, what do you think about personally showing your face and talking in there and how much of the video? Let's just talk about that.
I would recommend if you're going to be in it. So if you're going, so let's just assume we're doing like a live on Facebook and we're doing like a walkthrough. We'll just use that as an example. I would recommend, like I said, starting up. So what everybody else is doing right now is they start off in front of the house and they're talking into their phone, they're squinting or the wind's blowing into the microphone and they're like screaming into it saying, we're outside this new house, blah, 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 blah. That's what's happening. That's why I would like to see everybody like start in like the selling feature of the house. And then I would show, if you're in it, I would have the phone here and then I would just simply the only times that I would really want to be in it would be like when I'm reacting to something. So if I'm seeing something for the first time, people like to be able to see your like raw emotion. And so if you are going through a house and you haven't been through it yet, if you want to put your face in it, have your face. And so what I see is people walk in the room, you react, and then you can show everybody what you're reacting to. Because then it builds up suspense of like, oh, well, what are they seeing that's so surprising? Then you're able to kind of like keep people engaged just a little bit longer by seeing if you're like really in awe by this master bathroom or something. They're going to be able to kind of, it's like another little trick to kind of keep people engaged with like, what are they seeing? I want to see it. And so they kind of get like a little bit of FOMO that way. Otherwise, I like the idea of starting off with like something in the house, showing the house, I'm here, and then maybe going up into your quick little intro. So if this is just one room of the house, let's go check out the rest of the house. And then ending outside, I feel like, in my opinion, would be the better way to start it. So you're almost kind of starting off with like features of the house that are definitely like, oh, this sunroom is going to sell this house. So whoever's going to buy this house is going to buy this sunroom. That's what's going to be the big part. I would start in the sunroom and then I would kind of work my way backwards. So I'd start with like the cool feature that's going to capture everybody's attention. And then I would turn the camera then like, now we're going to go and check out the rest of the house. Then you go through the rest of the house and I would, if you want to, you could always turn the camera back on you and then just talk to him about like, personally, I really like this because blank, blank, blank. Back to the tour. Only because when it's on you, and this might just be me, I just hate looking up at people when they're like live. Because then I'm like, what am I watching right now? I want to watch the house. If they're watching the house, if they're wanting to check out a house, if you're wanting to show off a house, I would really focus on showing off the house and then you, instead of you center frame kind of talking about the house. And then going into kind of another direction, audio. And so a lot of times when people are just scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, YouTube's the exception here. But if you're on like those other social media platforms, it's really important to be highly visual versus talking to the camera, because otherwise people will just keep scrolling past. So that's why I feel like, once again, showing that really wow factor of the house in the beginning and then going to you. So then at a minimum, people are at least watching for the first 5, 6, 7 seconds. And then that just kind of helps boost your chances of somebody watching the rest of the tour, if that makes sense.
What do you think on time length of videos for like a listing tour, say?
I would say okay, so if the house is interesting, I think if I'm walking through a really nice house, I feel like if you're live, I don't think there should be any hurry to get through it, because the people that want to watch it will stick around and watch it. If you're simply trying to market a property and you're not live, I would get through it as soon as possible by showing the best features first, and then going into like kind of like the best to like people don't really care about this half bathroom, just because attention spans.
I agree with that. What do you think are the advantages of doing live versus just a video?
So with
Or
live,
vice versa?
so with live, a lot of people can. So there's numbers that will suggest that like live will get more traction because the algorithms like Facebook or Instagram's really trying to get people to use it, and so it keeps them on the platform longer that way. I'm split only because if I'm watching something live, it's got to be something really specific that I'm like really watching for. But I do know that like any of the algorithms will really try to nurture pushing live out to people by notifying people and letting them know like, hey, Dana Gentry's live right now. So then at least if at a minimum, your whole sphere, a lot of your friends are getting notifications saying like, oh, this person's live. Because what's not going to happen when you just upload a video is Dana Gentry just uploaded a video. So that's why there's like the pros and cons there. But by just uploading like a quick cuts, like maybe spending, rule of thumb that I like to follow for any of the videos that I make is 3 to 4 seconds per shot. So then like right as everybody kind of consumes the information or the room, they're done, and then you're moved on to the next one. And then it's almost like, and then if they want to go back, they can always rewind. And so if I'm making a video, if I'm making like a little tour of a house, I'm going to spend 3 to 4 seconds per shot. So then I'm mixing it up fast enough for people to notice that like, oh, keeps changing. What's next?
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I have a little list of a couple things. I definitely want us to go to YouTube. And I also want to talk a little bit about just marketing and branding via videos. If someone hasn't started with that yet, Tyler, I know you always come up for me with like the best ideas of different videos that somebody could make. Like you and I followed like that guy in Florida that's like the 10 reasons why you want to live in oh, of course, now I'm blanking on what it is.
Celebration, Florida.
Celebration, yes. Thanks,
Ken
Ryan.
Posick.
Yes, yeah. So, Tyler, what are some other things other than, hey, my name's Dana Gentry and I'm a realtor? Like, what are some of the things that people could do if they really want to start with like the marketing and branding in videos?
I would suggest making videos with lists. I think like the one you just referenced, the top 10, I think lists are easy for anybody that's wanting to get into videos, because personally I like watching lists, but it also keeps me engaged with, okay, there's number 5. What's number 4? What's number 3? Oh, if that's number 3, then what's going to be number 1? And it's an easy way. It's a good structure. So if you're not very comfortable making videos on your own, it's a good structure to follow so that you can just make like, okay, I need to find 5 reasons people need to go live in this neighborhood. Starting with number 5, here's this reason. That's what I would recommend. Simply
is he going out for y'all, or is that just me?
I hear him.
Okay, cool.
Oh, weird. Maybe that was my internet. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
So by using lists, so like it's harder to do now, but when everybody's kind of allowed to go out again, I would really recommend like my top 5 favorite restaurants in this city, because then you're not just talking about, so I'm going to assume that quarantine's over for this idea here, but if you're able to kind of personalize, that's going to help your brand out in the sense of, oh, this person likes this restaurant and nobody else ever mentions this restaurant. That's what I feel like is what's going to start making you a little bit more relatable over time, when you're consistently you're putting both information about you and like some of your favorites and your preferences, but you're also kind of exploring the community as well and showing what's all available. And so an easy way to like really make a bunch of content out of something like that is, here's my top 5 favorite places to eat on the west side of the city. Here's the top 5 on the north side, east side, south side. So just kind of depending on where you're at. And then making videos geographically based on the region where you're at. So that's one thing I've seen a lot of people have good success with, is when they really focus in on like their niche. So whether you're trying to appeal to a certain side of town or a certain kind of audience, that's who I'd really try to think about. Like, okay, I want to make videos. And so I remember like Jason Abrams talked about like really selling to your sphere and creating content, or like basically just showing up at, like, I think his example was like, you just keep going back to like your tennis club and you just let everybody know that, like, by the way, I'm a realtor then. And so what I would recommend in that sense with the video portion of it is, what if you're like kind of involved in some kind of like an extracurricular hobby or something of that nature, I'd recommend making a video like, so I like to go bowling. And so like, I would be like, here's my 5 favorite bowling alleys in Indiana. And then I would just simply go to each of them, say 1 or 2 sentences about them. And then that's the video. Because then what's going to happen is, once you put that on YouTube, then you can start playing it with the Google search algorithm. So somebody searches bowling alleys Indiana, as you keep doing this, Google's going to push your videos up front. So if you're the realtor that's been pushing, this is Western Bowl, and that's where I go to, and you just make like 2 or 3, 4 videos on it, and you're just pushing it out. You're sending it to your database. You're putting it on social media, and it's on YouTube. YouTube's going to recognize that, and it's going to bump that up. And so like when somebody's searching bowling alleys Indiana, your video is going to pop up above even all the other search results, because it will suggest like videos for it. Google is so smart that now it's like, if you're searching like how to do something, they'll put a video in front of you and they'll start it, like the AI will start it where the instructions typically begin. And so with that, you teaching people how to do something is another really good idea for being able to like instruct. What am I trying to say? I saw Lisa's comment and it was funny. If real estate's your life, though, I would suggest saying, let's come up with something. So if real estate is live, I would do like videos, get a car mount for your phone. And if you're driving around showing houses all day, I would just record little video time lapses in the car as you're driving around the city.
Love that.
And then just at the end of the day, you just mash them all together, put a little song behind it if you have one. And then just, if you did that consistently, it would be interesting seeing videos through the season, because then think about like the macro point of view at the end of the year. If you were doing that once a month at least, you could go through each season and put together like shots of like the same shot the whole time. And like, here's what this place looked like during this time. Here's what this place looked like during winter, and so on. And it's just, is that like value content? I don't know. The value could just be, oh, it gave me something to watch for 30 seconds and I was entertained by it. Oh, and I've never seen a realtor do time lapses around the city before. So it's just those little things could just kind of like compound, and you just keep doing them.
How would they use, Tyler, to mash them up like that though? iMovie?
Yeah, I would use iMovie. Adobe Rush is another easy Adobe products. Adobe, for people that don't know, are like the people that make like Photoshop, Lightroom, all like the creative stuff to like make content from.
You could also do like top 5. Here's my top 5 real estate related books for investing, or I mean, anything around that. I used Move for the first time. Oh, iMovie. Yeah, it's not bad, Dawn. It actually is very user friendly, I think, if you have iMovie. It's what I always used pre-Tyler.
It
Uh,
is very, yeah. They make it easy to use because they want everybody to use it. And then that the next step up that Apple will do is once they kind of get you hooked on iMovie, then they'll try to sell you Final Cut Pro, which then allows you to do a little bit more. But iMovie is going to do everything that you're going to need to do starting off with.
So Tyler, okay, let's switch gears for a second, and I want to talk about YouTube because and this is something I'm learning with you guys. Like YouTube is going to be my one thing for the rest of the year, for the team, for the region, for the vlog, for everything. Like YouTube is where I'm putting all of my focus. And so Tyler and I attended a class at Family Reunion together that was really good about YouTube, and I'm trying to get those people to come be on a Zoom. I just haven't had luck yet, but I want to kind of walk through some of this, Tyler. So this is the regional YouTube page. And I want to talk about a couple different things. So one, Tyler, where do you think we should start, or do you want me to just kind of go through a couple of these?
I'll follow you kind of
Okay.
where you're going.
Okay, so one, let's talk about the importance of being able, and some of these are because these people's names are really good. Well, this isn't as good of an example to use, but let's just roll with it. Okay, so the importance, I don't want to play this, but the importance of the actual name of your video, because Tyler, you taught me a ton of stuff about this. So like we went back into my team videos and renamed all of the videos. So talk about that maybe for a second.
So what kind of going back to like what Google will do for you in your videos. So what's going to happen when you want to think of like, what are people going to search for? And you want to base your title off of that. And that's based off of, so if I'm wanting to learn how to do X, Y, or Z, I'm going to type in how to do X, Y, or Z. And then, so you want your video, the title of the video at a minimum to kind of tie into that, because Google owns YouTube. So they're going to basically place any of that in front of people when they're searching how to do something, or if they're looking for something in particular, or they're looking for inspiration on something. You want to be able to kind of give them an idea of what they're going to watch, so that when they search it, your video is going to like have matching keywords and pop up. So that's why I'd recommend like title, like spending a little bit of time and not just putting like something that is very industry specific, if that makes sense.
So for example, like we're redoing, we just like deleted, and Tyler and Kate are helping us start a new YouTube for the team. But we used to have, and some of these have changed. Oh shoot, she took them down already. Okay, so for instance, we used to have like the walkthrough videos on here. We're re-putting them back up right now, which is why they're not here. But they had the addresses as the title, which was so dumb. We were like, this is crazy. Why did we do that? So in redoing this, we're going to have them say like top or new construction home in Lexington, Kentucky, or beautiful. Like I can't remember. We made a list. Tyler, I think Kate actually might have helped us with that.
Yeah.
But just to get, so like even though I'm not the top realtor in Lexington, Kentucky, that's what we're putting in the titles. Top realtors, top realtor, because you want people to search. How often do you think that they go and search for a top agent in Kentucky or in Ohio or in wherever? And so exactly what he said. Or like Sarah, I just love, she did her seminar, and we probably need to beef this up a little bit. She just uploaded this last night, but how to buy a home. Like it has really nothing to do with the seminar that she did, although it was on how to buy a home. However, that's what people are searching for. And so being able to really take advantage of those titles, I guess. I think I saw questions. Hold on, let me go here and see. How do you put the titles on the video, the wording on the videos? Oh, that's a great question, Tyler. People ask that all the time.
So thumbnails are something that really we started taking pretty seriously last fall, when I started kind of seeing results from my YouTube channel, started getting more results from flashier thumbnails. So a thumbnail, for anybody that doesn't know, is like kind of what we're looking at there. So when you see like the 31 questions with Dana Gentry, you want to be able to, you want your thumbnail to also kind of complement what it is that the video is going to be about. And also it's going to tie into with what the title is saying too. And so that's kind of like one thing that we've learned and we're still working on is figuring out. So like when you're scrolling on YouTube's going to suggest different videos to you based off of what you're watching and based off your preferences, whatever information they have on you, they're going to push that kind of content in front of you. So when you're kind of like scrolling on YouTube, you want to be able to find something that a thumbnail just, it increases your chances of the video being viewed. And so why I think it's important to spend the extra time and money on developing a thumbnail is because you're spending a lot of time already on making a video. Mm-hmm. And so if you can increase the chances of people watching it, and Dana, you could even go to Adam's I Love Recruiting podcast one.
Oh, that's what I was gonna.
That was one that I think it's got like uniform to it. So for me, I really like, if I go to a YouTube channel, I see there's kind of like a theme going on. For me, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, oh wow, this is fancy. Like they've got this together. There's something like there's something like pleasing to see. Like, okay, this is a theme that they're running with. I
like that too. Yeah, Kate, you guys have done a great job on Adams. He's been getting like a ton of feedback on it.
And what's good about, and so the idea with and the reason why we're trying to make just different thumbnails based off Zoom calls is when you're seeing a Zoom, like the automatic thumbnail that YouTube will choose for you, it might not be the most flattering image that it brings up. It also might not be very clear. And so what we'll do on these, Kate will scroll through and find like somebody laughing, somebody bringing up a point, screenshot that, and then place it into a template that she's built. And then it's kind of like, okay, we made it a little bit nicer than what you would see if you just uploaded the video right from your computer.
So could they do that on Canva? Could they make the template on Canva and just make it uniform every single time? And then you upload that so like, for instance, if you go back to the regional one, and I definitely want to talk about playlists because that's really important too. But when you go to upload a video, when you're on YouTube, and let's see, hold on one second. Kate just taught me how to do this whole incognito thing yesterday too, by the way, because I kept getting logged out of all my stuff. So anyway, whenever you go here, if you were gonna upload a video, I mean, only one I have is right now of Troy, but let's just play with that for fun. We won't go through with it. Oh, did it not? Oh, it is. Okay, here we go. So then it'll give you, it pre-populates a thumbnail down here for you. So that's what he's saying. Then you could create your own thumbnail and do the same template every single time. And then you would just upload your own instead of it picking like a weird, ugly one when people's faces are weird or, whatever.
Yep. Yeah. And it's worth the extra time because it's tedious work, but it's worth it because if you're already investing the time and money into making the video, it's like the last thing to just kind of like put a lid on it and then really be done with it instead of upload and then hope that it works. And so it's like doing that one extra step that helps. So, okay. So Tyler, this title is where we were talking about. This is where you want to put whatever you think people are going to search for. And then how picky do they need to get in the description? So it's kind of so what Google will do, and I think we learned this down in Mega Camp, is like they'll kind of even pull the first line off of the description. So when it pulls up a video within like a Google search, a little bit like the brief first line of the description is going to show up as a suggested video, or it can. So it's going to be pulling off the words from that first line in the description. And so if that first line of the description is it's basically restating the title of the video, maybe just expand on it a little bit more, then you'll want to dive into, I always like having descriptions kind of laid out. You can save format, like you can save like a theme in the description too. So if you want people to go to a certain like your website, your social media, all of that. You can type that out once and save that. So then that portion will always be there. And then all you would have to do on all of your videos would just be type kind of like leadership. Troy discusses leadership opportunities that are within KW. And then on the next line, kind of go into maybe just a little bit more detail on what they're going to end up watching or what they can expect from that video. Some people on longer videos, what they'll do is they'll make timestamps within the description. And so what they're able to do is if one portion of the video really might be applicable to somebody or answering a certain kind of question, you can make time markers in the description by just simply typing the time out, and then people can click on the time, and then it'll just take you straight to that spot in the video. So that's just one thing people will do like with really long videos.
So you're saying like if at 1 minute and 30 seconds he like drops some big knowledge bomb in the description, you would say at 1 minute 30 seconds check out the biggest aha of the video, or or something like that.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that could almost kind of like teases people to even like at a minimum they might just click that, or they might skip to that.
Go to that. Yeah, that's I've done that before too. Like especially if it's a longer video. Okay, so playlist was one of the biggest things I learned that I had no clue what that even meant. So will you touch on playlist and why that's important, and then I can kind of walk through like the choosing of one.
Yeah, so with the benefit of a playlist, it just kind of adds a little bit of structure to your YouTube channel. And so at first, it might not make a lot of sense for you. You might be like, I've got 3 videos on there. Why do I need a playlist? But as you really are consistent about it and you're pushing out more and more videos, what will be nice is if somebody ends up coming onto your YouTube page, you want it to be as user-friendly as possible for them so that they can find whatever they might be looking for that they're not even aware of that they're looking for. So you want to like spoon feed content to them by having like a playlist on new construction in Lexington, or like you could have like a restaurant list. So like here's just a whole playlist full of your favorite restaurants that you make quick little videos about. Or different sections of town is something else that I've seen other realtors do, where they will basically be like, they'll say Indianapolis, and then they'll put like a neighborhood within it. And then they'll put all of their listings. Like sometimes I'll see people put like just their virtual, like their listing videos, and they just plug them in there. So if anybody ever searches the address, sometimes they do pop up, but that's a way for them to kind of show off their listings that way. So to a prospective client. But that's the benefit. Basically, long story short, playlist, keep your content organized and easy to find for when people come to your page.
Okay, so also Tyler, don't they do the thing where like, okay, so I have on here, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so this is for the region one. So we had regional event videos, navigating the new norm, and then the blueprints. So basically what I'm trying to say is if someone were watching, let me go back. Well, his is almost done now, but okay, wait, I know, I have an idea. Let's go over here. So if we were to click on the vlog, the first episode, say, of the vlog, and we're not going to watch it, but the purpose of a playlist then is that after this video stops playing, the next one that comes up is going to be another one that's, oh, no clue what just happened. It's going to be the next one that's in the playlist queue, right?
Yep. And you can set that up too. Yeah. And so like when you're uploading a video, you can even set it up. Yes. To answer your question, yes. But also you can set it up towards the end of the video to send links to the next video that you want them to watch. And that's all done in that uploading tool that you're using there. And the benefit of that is you just kind of like, once again, spoon feeding content to the person that's watching it. And so you can add a link to it after this page on the video elements, I believe, is it what it is?
If you don't, yeah, video elements, yeah.
And that's like where you can add like
end screens, the cards.
Yes, end screen is kind of, yeah, like add cards and end screen by adding. So like at the end of, I don't know if you can click that yet, but yeah. So if
right
you
here?
click that, yep, it should.
You can schedule it.
Go back to the end screen tab, or go back to video elements. This is like the easiest way that I've seen. So click add on add to end screen. See what that does. And then if you scroll all the way to the end real
Of-
quick, I think it's,
Of the video?
yeah. So basically what you can do here then is,
Oh, this is where you put like contact 859396264.
yeah, like you could put kind of like your call to action at the end of this. Watch page for private videos. That's probably why this is a little bit different, because this is like a test. But at the end of videos, you can place basically links to your next video. But playlists also make it more discoverable. And like what Dana said, when you're done watching a video, a suggested playlist can come up as well.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions you guys have when it comes to YouTube?
I would say definitely YouTube is the place where you want, if you want people to listen to your content, I feel like it's the place for it, just because people are on YouTube to listen versus just mindlessly scrolling.
Like they are on Instagram?
Yeah.
Right.
Question about cross posting. So yes, I would post them separately. So Facebook doesn't necessarily want people to leave Facebook. And so it's important to, like, they don't want people to leave you using their app to go to another one. And so it's not going to necessarily push it in front of as many people. Otherwise, if you just put a YouTube link. So uploading each video into its native platform is what's most important. And so what I do with Facebook, so if you wanted to post, you have one video and you're going to put it on YouTube. I would make like a teaser video of some sort that says the full videos on YouTube, link is in the comments. So then you're just kind of giving them an idea of what the whole video is going to be, but you're still giving them something to watch while they're mindlessly scrolling. Link in bio or something like that too.
We do typically like different formats though, don't we, for Instagram versus YouTube versus Facebook? What's the reason for that?
Yep. So with that is, so Instagram is a square. When you're scrolling through there, it's like the ratio is 1080 by 1080. And then and it's very mobile friendly that way. If you upload a square video into YouTube, it's not going to fill up the whole screen. It's going to look like you just uploaded a video from Instagram into YouTube.
I know, like I just did with Troy's example, because that was made for Instagram. That's why it didn't fill the full screen on YouTube when it was uploading.
Yeah. So uploading it in its native format just helps. So like if you're on Instagram and you click the explore option, you'll even see square videos being pushed out in front of you. And that's why I feel like it's really important. They're not going to push out stuff that's just it's not going to fill up the explore feed. And then with IGTV, it's, how do I explain? So IGTV so Dana, could you pull up Troy's real quick? Because that kind of like, the IGTV can be a little bit tricky. And so what we do with that is we'll take like a square image and then we'll play, or the video, and then we'll place it over a vertical template. And so this is like, imagine looking at a video like on YouTube that's normal. And the ratios so imagine turning this entire thing to the side. So that's what like the ratio is for YouTube. So if you make it vertical like this, that's what's going to be Instagram TV native. And so what we do for this is we make the video like the square. So when you're scrolling, you'll see that. So there's a thumbnail. And then when the video starts playing, what happens is it shows kind of like what you're going to see. And then we just instead of making like a big, tall, vertical video, we're able to take what we have made for like in a square format and place it in there. You apply some like text that kind of tells people what they're actually watching or what they're going to watch. And then that's what allows us to get from normal layout on YouTube to Instagram. So this is like, I'm trying to make this, trying not use all these video terms, but so like that, like where the actual video you see of Troy right there is like formatted for YouTube. So we took that rendered video and put that on a vertical template so that we could upload that to Instagram TV. I think that's clear.
So, okay, so then really quickly on, because we only have 2 minutes left, and I know this is a lot of info. Speaking from experience, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, but what do you think about IGTV versus Facebook versus YouTube? Because you and I've had a lot of conversations, because Tyler's been trying to push us to do YouTube for like way long time. And I'm like, none of my people are on YouTube. They don't watch, they're not like watching. I have 2 views on my videos, blah, 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 blah. So like all my people are on Instagram is what I always say to him. However, what I'm learning from so many other people is you just need to throw it on YouTube. But Tyler, what are your thoughts? And everybody needs to check their own analytics. Like I will get way more views and watches on Instagram, on IGTV than I will by putting it on Facebook. But I have a lot of friends who get way more on Facebook than they do on Instagram. So I think it's kind of.
I would say, so YouTube is definitely like a slow burn. You're not gonna, a lot of people don't just, they quit YouTube because they get 2 or 3 views on it. The idea behind the long play for YouTube, in my opinion, is by being consistent with it over time, you're going to build up a big portfolio of stuff that's going to give you Google SEO credibility, if you will. So then over time, as long as you've been consistent, people are going to discover you easier that way. And so that's the audience I feel like you're really going after, is not necessarily your sphere. You're really trying to find people that are outside your sphere, which is why it can be discouraging to continue to do it when you're only getting a couple of views at a time. But over time, if you're consistent, that's how you want to reach. You want to reach the outside people, outside of your sphere, where Instagram and Facebook are really good for staying in contact with your sphere. And Dana, I feel like if we can get that'd be really good someday to get those people that were on YouTube on that panel, but they were getting, they really leveraged their YouTube channels for referrals.
Yeah.
So they would be getting cross-country referrals from their YouTube channel, not necessarily a consumer per se. So even if you're making videos that are even targeted towards other realtors, even as long if they discover you, then you can really tap into the referral network, if that makes sense.
Ryan, were you going to say something?
Yeah, are you talking about the YouTube panel that was down at Family Reunion?
Yep.
That one? Yeah, so Ken Posick was on that, and then Karen Carr, and Karen's got a really good Facebook group for this too, this YouTube for real estate agents. And so they go over a lot of this stuff too.
I think, yeah. She has a book that you can like follow along with.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
What is her name again?
Tyler, we can barely hear you again. You
Karen.
moved away from the thing. There you go.
Then I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, put it in the chat. Awesome. Okay, yeah, because I really, really want to see if I can get them to be like on. Well, my intention is to get them on the next regional ones, and so then we can record them and share those also. Okay, I know this isn't a lot. Tyler, you're the best. You're the fave. Thanks so much. Any last questions? Did you guys learn some stuff? Good.
I'm
Cool.
overwhelmed. I feel like I need to hire somebody for all of this.
It's overwhelming, but if you just start with the phone, you'll be good. It's just starting, and then you'll be like, okay. I would just start with baby steps. Pick one platform to do videos on, and stick to that instead of trying to do them all at once.
When somebody like Ryan Conway does a whole movie trailer for a listing, it's like. It's like, just give up, just throw it away. I mean, you got big shoes to fill.
You can get the Blu-ray or DVD. I'll send you the Blu-ray of that, Lisa.
Oh God, it's just like, really, you're just gonna show us all up like that? It's crazy.
But
I did
Dawn,
an MS
Dawn just
Paint.
started her videos, and you've been having really good luck too.
And I just actually yesterday, I created a YouTube channel like a week ago, and then Anna, my assistant, she and I started working on the iMovie. So we uploaded my interview with a little restaurant not too far from here, bar, whatever, pub. So yeah, I want to move everything over. The only thing I was questioning was, it seems like some of those videos don't go up to Facebook, like they should. So she and I were talking about putting it on YouTube and then sharing, but you're really saying not to do that.
Because
right?
you want to, right, Tyler, isn't it true if you copy the YouTube link and you paste that into Facebook, then when people are scrolling through their feed, the video isn't playing?
Yeah, the video will not play. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's why you want to upload it on your own. Yeah. Okay, Tyler, that was the perfect thing I was getting ready to say. How can they find you? And if they want more information, or even if they want maybe even to hire some video help out, is that the best way for them to do Instagram?
Yeah, just DM me. That's
okay.
Yeah.
The problem is that he's in Indiana. He's not in Columbus.
Yeah. Tyler, but do you guys do any like editing for people that send? That's what I was going to say. Like, especially through all this, Lisa, we've been still doing videos, but we've been sending them to Tyler and paying them to edit for us and do the thumbnails and stuff like that. So even if you can shoot some raw stuff on your phone and you have it in your budget, then I would say explore that option, because and right now, to stand out above everybody else, it might be a great thing to do.
Sounds good.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks, Tyler.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you guys.